Hello YouTubers, you are watching Just Do It Yourself channel, and today we are replacing the left or driver's side axle on a Volvo C30. So we just done the other side. The vehicle is jacked up and on the jack stands. So first we will start by removing the wheel. So to get a wheel off, you would use 19mm socket. If you have those chrome covers, we need more torque than that. But if you have some nuts that are missing those chrome plating, then you might need to actually go to 18mm, like this one. So it just got stuck in the socket. So if you have a nut like this, just use 18mm, since you can round those edges if you use 19. I just hate that person who invented this two-piece nuts. To get this out of the socket is really a pain in the butt. So one more. Of course. Okay, so now we can actually switch to 18mm and work with the one-piece nut. My suspicion is that Volvo inherited it from Ford, since they use same type of nuts. Next, while we're here, we will undo the axle bolt, and that's just 13mm. As you can see, they use some blue Loctite on it. And also, what we can do, we can use 15mm socket and just push that axle out, get it loose. So next, to get some more wiggle room, I will undo the ball joint nut, and it's 13/16, so 21mm. And also make sure that you have a piece of paper towel or something to catch all the grease coming out of that boot. Alright, so this nut is off, but I'll just put it in so we don't damage the thread while we remove the ball joint. Also, since the ball joint is kind of been pushed by the control arm up, so I have this pry bar and I will apply a little bit of pressure to push it down. It just went into that hole. So now all what we need to do, use a sledgehammer and give it a few good hits just over here where the knuckle is, so it will get loose. I'm not sure if I will be able to capture it, but basically what you do, and you see now it's loose. So now we can remove the nut completely, push the control arm down, and get the hub, the knuckle off, so we have more room for the axle to come out. So here is our axle. Loose. Okay, so now we need to remove it from the transaxle or transmission. So we'll just use the pry bar and try to push it out. We might need to rotate it as we go, because it might be locked in place with that C-ring inside. The other side was different. It was held by the bearing carrier, but here it's held by the C-clamp or C-ring. So we'll just stick this in between the transmission and axle and try to push it out. Very often the greatest idea is actually to hammer it out if you have a point where you can stick your pry bar, but at this point I will be just prying it out with the pry bar. Okay, so the axle is out, and honestly I thought that it would take me longer, but all you do is take your pry bar between the axle and transmission and pry it out and turn it. So while you turn, you see this C-clip probably will be turning too. So as long as it gets into the right spot, most likely 6 o'clock with this groove, it will come out right away. And also, like, there's tons of grease inside those boots, so make sure that you have a catch tray, because it kept leaking and leaking, so the paper towel was not able to hold that much grease. So before we get to the new axle, I will use some brake clean and paper towel, and we'll clean this control arm from all the grease. So here's all the new axle, and if you need the part number for the old one, here it is. The new one is Cardon, and I will leave a link in the description to the video if I can find it on Amazon, so you can order it online. It also comes with the axle bolt, which is great. One very important step that often gets overlooked: you need to compare the size, and sometimes it happens that the axle might be an inch, half inch shorter or longer, and then it will give you so much trouble down the road. So before you put it in, just try to line up this end, check if this is lining up, check if this side is lining up. Obviously there is some movement, but maybe even compress them and see how they align then. But it's very important to make sure that they are the same size. I had one case when it was like half inch smaller, and it kept popping out of the transmission all the time until we replaced with the right axle. So check that before you put it in. Apply some gear oil. There is a seal, so you don't want to go it all the way in all dry, and also put some oil on the splines over here. So now we will try to put this axle back in. You want to go as straight as you can so you don't damage that seal. So when it's this far, you can leverage the axle itself to push it all the way in. Just like that. So before we put the axles back into the spindle, just apply some anti-seize on the splines. Even though the axle is new, the spindle is not, so it might make sense to get some anti-seize to make sure that next time we need to remove it, we have this done. So now we will just use same procedure as we did when we removed the axle. So we will push it in, make sure it lines up with the splines and the spindle. And it does now. So now we can push down the control arm and get that bolt joint back in. Right, so now we will put the ball joint nut back in, and since this is nylon lock nut, I'm pretty sure that that nylon lock is still fine, but we will apply some blue Loctite, blue thread locker, just to make sure that it doesn't get loose on the road. So now a little trick: when you tighten this, it can be the case that the inner piece of the ball joint will start to spin together with your nut. So we have two options. There is a Allen key insert that you can put inside and hold it. The other one would be probably more easier and convenient. You can put your jack underneath and apply just some pressure from the bottom, and that will prevent it from spinning. So next step will be to put your axle bolt in. We will use some blue Loctite as it was used before, and here we need to go careful not to over tight it. So just get it finger tight basically, and we'll just put the pry bar so we can torque it like that. So to torque we use 26 foot-pounds, and then so this is 26 foot-pounds and then 90 degrees. So if we set the wrench at 12, we spin it to 3, and that should be it. Last step would be to put the wheel back on, torque it to 100 foot-pounds, and the job will be done. Please check the links in the description to the video for any parts and tools that you might need. Please like and subscribe, and as always, just do it yourself.